Gender norms are totally irrelevant. You'll get yourself into a trap with that. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Relationship Theory.
Hi.
I'm your co-host Tom Bilyeu, and I'm here with Lisa Bilyeu. What is up,
Yes. What's up,
homegirl?
baby?
How we doing?
Good. Okay, I've got a question from Frank Wright. This is from last week on Facebook.
Okay.
Frank Wright says, I make significantly more money than my partner, almost 4 times the amount. In addition, I work from home. Does that make me still on the hook for doing most of the house chores like cooking, cleaning, laundry, etc.? This taken into consideration social and gender norms and roles.
Oh, wow. We've got some landmines to start with.
Yeah,
All right.
to throw you in the deep end.
Okay, so danger, Will Robinson, to think that the money that you make has anything to do with the chores that you need to do. But I think that agreeing to what is valuable is very important. So for instance, you love to fuss and like tidiness is of high importance to
We're
you.
going to keep having this debate because it's not that I like to.
No, it is.
It's that I
100%.
prefer things to be neater. So if I have to fuss, I'll fuss.
I'm telling you right now, and I don't want to derail from, my wife has a neurological condition where the more effort something takes, she likes it better. You will never be able to convince me otherwise. I've had too many years of seeing you in action. Like, food tastes better if it was harder to make, to prepare. Like, if there is 100 ways to do something, you will find the one way that is the most extravagantly like prepared. 100%. Like, just for whatever reason, embrace that is a thing for you. And I know because just like in the movie, what was it? Unbreakable? The M. Night Shyamalan movie. I think it's Unbreakable, where you've got one character who's unbreakable, and then you have the other who's like Mr. Glass or whatever, and he breaks really easily.
Right.
So you like things that require an additional level of fussing that makes it better for you, which is like a thing, by the way.
So
like,
trying to see where you're going with
I'll
this.
get there. So like when people do rush in a fraternity or whatever, they haze them. And because of that, the investment to get in is so high that they prize it that much more because they're in. I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum.
Okay.
To me, something is more valuable the less effort it takes. So like if there is an easier way to prepare the meal, then I'll do it that way. 100%. Like paper plate, cold instead of heated. Like there's actually a value to minimizing the effort of what I'll call non-consequential tasks.
Okay.
So things like that just aren't that valuable to me. But so you and I are opposite ends of the spectrum on that. All right, back to this poor man's question.
I'm so wondering how you're going to tie this together.
No, that was you like interjecting. I was just telling people like you trying to tell lies and say that like it isn't that you like fussing. You love fussing the most.
Okay.
And it adds value to your life.
All right.
Fine, no worries. So don't make the mistake of thinking that because you make more money that means that you have less responsibilities. If you have more free time, it would probably be a very advantageous thing to the relationship to agree on what those important things are and then take some of those off the table. One thing that I told my lovely wife, for instance, was I would never have a lawn ever under any circumstance until I could pay somebody else to deal with it because I hate that so much. And as a kid, it was one of those things I was forced to mow the lawn and rake leaves and all that stuff. And I hated it so aggressively that I said, yeah, I will never have a yard until I can pay somebody to take care of it, which I stayed true to that promise.
Right.
So yeah, to me, the hard part is agreeing on what's actually important, what's actually valuable, because that's where like you and I have a big discrepancy. Because would you do yard work? You definitely would do housework. There's no question about that.
Yeah, if I had to, for sure. Like if
had to.
If it was, I leave my yard super messy.
Don't have a yard.
No, I would still have.
Like I would have lived in a condo until I could afford to pay somebody.
And look, actually, that's really fascinating with just a mentality. Because I think I would have a yard and then take care of it.
Yeah, we never do that.
But that's part of your personality, and I think that's how you actually do. Have been able to, like basically envision this and then build it, is you don't waste your time on the little things. And I understand that I actually do waste my time on the little things. And that's part of, even just going back to the fussiness of it, is I think a part of you is like, why am I wasting my time? This isn't going to get me anywhere forward, right? It's not going to improve my life in any way, shape or form. I'm going to use a plate and then it gets dirty again. I'm going to reuse the plate. So all the time that I'm spending to wash the plate, I could be reading, learning. And so I think that that's a big part of what, how you see things. Like for me, it's that momentary, like, pleasure of having a proper plate. I don't know. I mean, not to get derailed on the dishes, but I think discussing it though is very important, because let's say, for instance, with chores, and we had decided, okay, so it's the laundry, the dishes, and dusting. Like if those were the three things, I think over time you would be bitter having to do the washing of the plates, even if it was let's say we divided it up. I think it'd start to weigh on you, because you're like, I'd rather use paper plates. Like this is a complete waste of my time. And I think that then we'd have that discussion of, well, okay, you don't want to wash plates, so then I'll take that chore, or that's my responsibility.
Yeah. So bringing it back to the question, I'll say that gender norms are totally irrelevant. You'll get yourself into a trap with that. So agree on what's important. That's one, and not necessarily easy. And we could do a whole conversation about that. We won't, but we could. But defining what's important, defining like what are make or breaks for you. So like the yard thing for me, that was a non-negotiable. So it was a promise I made myself when I was a kid because I hate it so much, and there was just no way that I was going to break that. And then really like being thoughtful, and this is like hey, this is bonus points. Like if you guys agree, these are the tasks that have to be done, do those tasks, fine, so be it. And that's it. You could rock that forever and you've just done exactly what you agreed upon. But I will tell you right now, like if you want a really thriving relationship, looking for ways to do nice things for the other person, it feels really, really good. Like the other day, I woke up really early on the weekend, and you have a ritual when you wake up, you tidy the kitchen, which is like crazy town to me. Like it is so fascinating that you would rather do that than like reading to me. Like when I first wake up, I like to read. Like that's one of those great joys for me on the weekend is if I wake up before you, I don't have to work out, which is, oh God, it's so nice. I can put my headphones on and I can just read. Amazing. But I was like, you know what? Like I know her ritual. I just want to do something sweet. And so I did the tidying up for you. It made me feel good. You liked it. It's one of those things that's just like good form to do nice things for the other person. So, I mean, there are opportunities. It made me feel
like really heard and bonded with you, because I was like, I like to do it. I never asked you to do it. It's not that I like the kitchen to be clean. And so when I woke up, and because you don't ever do that, like I woke up and I was like, wow, did I go on autopilot last night and clean the kitchen? Like, and I forgot, because that was my instinct, because you never do it. And I was like, no, I remember going to bed thinking, oh God, this is a mess. And then when I woke up and it meant so much to me. Like, forget about money, forget about like doing anything like extravagant. Like it felt so much to me, because I felt like you knew me, and I felt like you knew how that would make me feel waking up with such a lovely clean kitchen. And like that was so nice of you, and you didn't have to do it. And I think that's a big part of it as well. Like responsibilities versus just doing something nice for somebody. Like almost when it's a responsibility, like, yeah, that was like part of our deal, which I think is actually risky, because you can then not take advantage, but you just take people for granted. And that's one thing me and you don't do, and we make an effort to. So like on the weekend, I make you breakfast, lunch and dinner, both Saturday and Sunday. And when I do, every time, you thank me like 8 times. You'll thank me when I give you food, baby, thank you so much for making this. And then you'll be like, you'll take your first bite and you're like, baby, this is so lovely, thank you so much. And then you'll do it midway. But by the end, like, I feel like, all right, baby, you don't have to keep going on. But you make it such a point, because that's our agreement. On the weekends, I'm going to cook for you. So you could absolutely take it for granted and not say 2 words about it, but you don't. And it's those tiny little things where people always say, like, how are you and Tom so strong? It's those little things.
Yeah. So there you have it. It creates a really wonderful opportunity to, when you want, and don't fall into the trap of then feeling obligated to like do something.
Right.
But when there's little opportunities like that, you're feeling it, you can do it. It's amazing. My big thing is be aggressively who you are, right? So I'm never going to have a yard until I can take care of it. I don't prize tidiness. At least I didn't when we weren't working in the house. Now that we're working in the house, obviously it's a different story, but I don't prize tidiness. So, but that if I'm not prepared to do it, I shouldn't expect you to do it. And so that's where I think people get into trouble. And I remember I had very good friends growing up. They had a kid quite young, and they used to get in huge fights over like not cleaning up the apartment. And because she was like, I'm raising a child, like it is all consuming in a way you don't understand. And he's thinking, I go to work, and his job was not easy. I go to work, I do this, I work crazy long hours. I'm the only one making money. Like, I want you to take care of the kid and clean the house, right? And it was their first kid and they were young. So it's like, I'm going to guess if I were in that situation, he probably didn't quite understand like how much time and energy a child takes. And so on top of that, to also have to like tidy up, which from my understanding, and I don't have kids, but from my understanding, kids are like whirling dervishes and they just like make everything a mess like instantly. And so I've got to imagine that's pretty taxing.
So do you think it's more about time than intensity? Because he's saying like, I work from home, but like I'm earning X amount. So like, I don't know if if she's working just as hard. Like let's say she works 8-10 hours and he works 8-10 hours, but he's earning more.
Can
that's
I
where it gets
really
tricky.
look into this?
Yeah.
And now I'm guessing, admittedly, but I'm going to reach into this situation a little bit. I'm going to guess he's thinking, why even bother working? I make 4x what you make, stay home, clean, tidy, like a more traditional relationship, but maybe they're not married. Maybe they're not in the point where he can sort of push that agenda and she like wants to maintain like her stuff. And he's thinking, meaning like her own identity, universe, all that, like doesn't want to be thinking of herself as a parent. I don't know, I'm guessing. But I could see where that would become a sticking point where it's like, I'm out here, like, sure, I work from home, but like I'm really, because the question was, should I still have to be the one to do more stuff, right?
Exactly.
Because I'm working from home.
Right.
And yeah, I would say not. And I would say if you like, yeah, I don't want to keep repeating it. Write down, like, agree what needs to be done. Agree
literally
what
write
you're
down
gonna
everything,
do, not gonna
all
do,
the little things.
who's responsible for what.
Yeah.
Don't make it based on money. And then if you have money to throw at the problem, like one thing that I would say to you with no hesitation, here are the things I'm responsible for. I'm paying for somebody to do it. I'm not going to waste my time on that. Like I would have no qualms about that. But conversely, if you wanted to do the same thing, hey, here's our spending money. Like if I choose to spend mine on that, so I don't have to do chores, like so be it. You have the option to do the same.
But also we've discussed it because when we first started getting someone to help clean the house, it was like, I felt so guilty because part of me just, I guess, being Greek and being brought up where like the woman is going to get married and take care of the husband, like I actually felt guilty about paying someone else to do it. But once you were just like, are you joking? Like think of all the things you could do, like let's do this. So we decided to have someone come help. It was like once I made that switch in my mind, it was such a relief, and now I don't feel guilty, and now I still get the things cleaned that I want cleaned. So I think being uber specific, you hit the nail on the head. I think for me is writing everything down, allocating who does what, where's priority, and then just that way you don't feel bitter or resentful that, oh my God, I'm washing the dishes and I don't even bloody use the dishes.
Right. And be honest, because that's how resentment builds up. You didn't push an issue that you actually care about and it spirals out of control.